All right, we are up. Good evening, everyone. It's going to be a short live tonight. I just wanted to get straight to the point tonight. All right, actually was just going to record these videos or these topics, but I just felt like jumping on live and talking to you guys and responding to, whoever joined and whoever was leaving comments. Um, Happy Martin Luther King's Day tomorrow too. I think most of us should be off. I think everybody should be pretty much off tomorrow. What's up, Mark? What's good? This is going to be a really, really quick, short live. At least I think so. Let's see how real it gets in the comments. But yeah, we're gonna discuss this Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez situation. I really like the news. It's not official, but it's pretty close. I was on Twitter earlier and I saw that Michael Benson and Mike Coppinger is basically saying that the fight is close to being set. I'm not sure exactly because I heard it's supposed to happen in New York, but then it's also being said that's going to happen in Vegas. I hope it happens in New York because if it happens in New York, I'm definitely going to that fight. All right, but I think there are other fights scheduled. I think they're pushing for April 30th, and I think there's already fights scheduled for that day. So we just got to wait and see. I might be wrong, but I believe Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, I think they're pushing for that exact same date. So we got to see how it's all going to go down. But Shakur Stevenson the other day on Twitter said that he has a surprise on his next opponent. I did speak on this on my live the other day, yesterday. And I guess this is a surprise only because Bob was not trying to make this fight next. All right. When Shakur beat Jamel Herring and when Valdez beat Robson Conceição, Bob was leaning on making a Navarrete fight with Oscar Valdez, and he was trying to make a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Miguel Berchelt first. Okay, he didn't want to go straight into a fight between Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. So, no, I don't believe Serrano and Katie Taylor is going to be on the undercard, man. I'm waiting to see how they're going to roll with that, but I think that should be the main event. I mean, this is the undisputed, probably the best undisputed fight you can get in today's women's boxing. So I don't believe that's an undercard kind of fight. I think that should be the main fight. And I think if they're going to push for Katie and Amanda for them to be the main event of a card, this should be the fight to do it. I mean, this is like the Super Bowl of women boxing, this, and then you got the other fight with Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. All right. So I don't think this is going to be an undercard. This is not an undercard fight for Stevenson and Valdez. This is not an undercard fight for that. No way. Absolutely not. But regardless, I hope they're not on the same night. But it's possible. You know how boxing is. It's possible, but hopefully it's not. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Now, like I said before, I wasn't expecting this based on what Bob Arum has said. I didn't think he wanted to fight, especially because Valdez didn't look good in his last performance. It was kind of like a stay busy fight. People weren't really expecting much from, expecting much from Robson Conceição, especially after Valdez beats Miguel Berchelt the way that he did. You knock out Miguel Berchelt like that when you were the underdog. You was the guy moving up from 126 to beat a beast at 130. Many of us believe that Berchelt was probably the most dangerous fighter at 130 at that time, without a doubt. So I think that, and we'll get to Virgil and Boots later in the video. I'm going to address this first. After getting that knockout, and this is one of the best knockouts of 2021, I think all the momentum was there. And then Oscar Valdez went and popped 30 before his fight against Robson, and everything just went down from hill from there. He gets into the fight. It's a very debatable fight. Many people think Robson did enough to win the fight. I think it was close. I did see it. I actually like what Robson was doing more, but I do feel that Robson gave a lot of the rounds away in the second half of the fight. So I wasn't screaming robbery, but it was a close fight to me. I wasn't screaming robbery though. Shakur Stevenson is coming off his career best win. I want to say Shakur Stevenson's best performances, his best step-up fights, his top 3 opponents, in my opinion, was first Christopher Diaz, then Joet Gonzalez, and then Jamel Herring, okay, at 130, which was a big step up for him. Oscar Valdez has a better resume, and he has more experience. All right, I'm definitely leaning towards Shakur Stevenson without a doubt. In my mind, this fight, I seen it going back. I never saw Shakur Stevenson losing to Oscar Valdez. All right. And I think he can do enough to stop Valdez. And I tweeted this a little while, and I see that people are reacting to it. I'm not like shot tweeting. I'm being honest. And the reason why I say that is because Oscar Valdez don't have great defense. He doesn't. All right. Shakur Stevenson is not Burchell. Okay. Burchell is very dangerous because of his power. Okay. But Shakur Stevenson is levels above him as far as being a boxer. I've been watching Oscar Valdez fight for years, for a long time, for a very, very long time. And he has trouble against boxers. Robson Canseco, trouble. Okay. What's the other kid's name? I pulled up his resume because I didn't want to forget anybody's name. But what's the other kid? Adam Lopez was trouble. Yes, he stopped Lopez, but leading up to that stoppage, he was getting outboxed. I believe he even got dropped in that fight. All right. Now, I know he's a warrior. I know he's tough. I know he's durable. I know he's been down. He's gotten back up. I know he's fought with a broken jaw throughout the fight. I understand how tough he is. But when I say a fighter gets stopped, I don't mean KO. I mean due to punishment, heavy punishment, humiliation, embarrassing. Okay. Going to your corner, maybe quitting on a stool, maybe the towel being thrown in, maybe the referee jumping in and stopping the fight, like the Jamel Herring fight. Jamel Herring didn't get knocked out. He got stopped. So I would not be surprised if Shakur Stevenson were to stop Valdez because of the punishment, the humiliation, all right, the constant offensive slaughter. Okay, Shakur is not Miguel Burchell just walking straight in, getting tagged up, getting hit with everything that's coming his way. Shakur is a complete opposite. Shakur is the exact opposite of Miguel Burchell. He is everything that Burchell is not. The one advantage that Burchell has outside of experience is punching power. Everything else goes to Shakur Stevenson. So if you could see Valdez struggling against a more skilled boxer in Robson Canseco, what do you think is going to happen when he gets in there with Shakur Stevenson? Why do you think Bob didn't want to fight right away? There is a reason behind it. Because styles make fights. It's not all about who did what. People just goes with the resume, the experience. Yes, that stuff does count. But when you look at Shakur and see what he can do, it's different. Those guys that Valdez beat, Scott Quigg, he's not Shakur Stevenson. He's not. Chris Avalos, he's not Shakur Stevenson. It's not him. Adam Lopez, Robson Canseco, Miguel Burchell, those guys are not Shakur Stevenson. None of them. And even the best boxers of those guys are nowhere near Shakur Stevenson's level, even at his age. At this stage, nowhere close. So we might get a unanimous decision, all right, where Valdez either gets swept or maybe get a round in there or two, all right, or Shakur stopping him. He's going to quit on his stool. He's going to get a towel thrown in. He's going to get stopped and waved off by the ref because of punishment. He doesn't have good defense. He doesn't have good defense. He's improved working with Reynoso. He looked good against Burchell. But what happened when he went in there with Robson against a boxer? He was getting outboxed. And he didn't lose a fight, but he was getting outboxed. Victor says Stevenson is special. Reminds me of Loma. He's special to me. He's special. I think he's a future pound for pound. Guys like Ennis. There's guys out there that look like they have potential to be future pound for pound. Not just title holders, but they have potential to be future pound for pound level fighters. Stevenson is a very, very mature fighter at his age in the ring. Very mature. He fights like a seasoned vet. I like to compare him to Floyd based on the differences of Floyd's career. Money May against Pretty Boy. Stevenson skipped the Pretty Boy part of that. He went straight to Money May, where he's just defensively gifted. Yes, he makes mistakes. No, he doesn't have the biggest punching power. Okay, I know he's looked boring in certain fight, but he's a guy that is hard to win a round. You cannot win a round against this dude. It's so hard to win a round because he doesn't get hit that much. Boxing Gyms, what's up, bro? Punching power is all Valdez has on Shakur. UD or corner ref stoppage. I agree with that. Legend says you already know they're going to duck boots. We're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. La Vida says they're going to juice Valdez up. No, they're not, because if they do, they're going to get caught and it's going to look worse. And I don't think Valdez wants to go through that again. You know, because when he got caught and he caught all this slander, you can tell it affected him. And maybe that's part of the reason why he looked bad against Robson. You know, but you can tell he wasn't taking it well. I don't think he's going to juice anymore. You know, I don't think he's going to get caught with anything. I think he's going to go in there and do what he can. You know, he has power. I'm not saying he doesn't have a chance of winning. He has power. All right. He knocks guys out. But Shakur is different. He's not Burchell just walking straight in. Yeah, Lopez definitely dropped Valdez. Yeah, Lopez was doing his thing. All right. Lopez can box. I've seen him a few times. He's pretty good. All right. What's up, D-Style? The Awoken one says, what up, Wave? Hope you're well. Happy New Year. I think Bud versus Bob Arum is going to be the fight of the year. Bud and will KO in the first round. Let's go, Terrence. I mean, we just got to wait and see how this all plays out. Again, you know, I mean, I hope Bud, for his sake, I hope he has enough to win this and we can all move on from this. But again, if he doesn't win, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad because he's going to get sued. He's going to get countersued if he doesn't win. We just got to wait and see. But yes, I do hope Bud can win this case against Bob Arum because I like him as a fighter. I want him to win. It is what it is. But it's not the fight of the year. It's one of the, you know, gossipy things for the year, I think, you know, and that's why I wasn't even going to make content on it, but I made content of it because people were asking me to, you know. Boxing Jim says Stevenson has lost 3 rounds total and judges scorecards is all in the fights. Yeah. Absolutely. Who do you think will win between Kid Galahad and Stevenson at 130 if that fight? Shakur Stevenson, without doubt. Without doubt. But I wouldn't want to see that. That's a mismatch to me right now. All right, so look, all right, let's talk. I think we just gotta wait. Oh, by the way, this is not official yet. They're working on it. They said they're close. They have a date. They're pushing for April 30th. I love the fight. It's a unification fight. I think whoever wins the fight is the king at 130. You know, right now, I don't know who else is holding a title at the division. You have the Japanese fighter. He holds a title up there. Let me go down. Hold on. Give me a second. Who do we have? Ogawa holds a title. Roger Gutierrez holds a title. I forgot about that. He's going to be fighting Chris Colbert. All right, but this fight here is the fight at 130. I mean, it's not even play ourselves. These other fights are good. Ogawa's a champion. Gutierrez and Colbert is going to have their fight, but this is the fight at 130, without a doubt, for sure. All right. But yeah, I wasn't sure who this surprise was going to be. I'm glad it is Valdez. That's the fight we should be getting. But I didn't know who it was going to be. You know, I said maybe it's, you know, I don't know. I didn't know who it was going to be. You know, I didn't know. I couldn't even tell. As far as surprises, you know, I was even bringing up Lomachenko possibility if Lomachenko wasn't going to fight George Kambosos. All right. But listen, I'm glad they made the fight. I'm definitely leaning towards Shakur Stevenson to win. I'm rooting for him, but I think he's gonna win the fight. He's either gonna outbox him. He can definitely stop him. I'm not saying that Oscar Valdez doesn't have any chance, but he has a little chance, and I think he has a puncher's chance. All right, but as far as like a scorecard win, absolutely not. I can't see that happen. A scorecard win, no. I can see him winning by knockout. You know, catch Shakur. We don't even know if Shakur has a great chin. You know why? Because he rarely gets hit. All right. But I have Shakur all the way winning that. You know, I'll do a breakdown. Definitely a worthy fight to do a breakdown on. It was great. It's a unification fight. But I have Shakur winning that one, without a doubt. All right, so let's move on. I want to discuss Jerome Boots and Virgil Ortiz. I was tweeting about this a little while ago, because I saw someone say that Virgil Ortiz and Jerron Ennis are both the number 1 and 2 at the WBO rankings, which is the title is being held by Terrence Crawford. So I saw that, and I went on both sites officially, right? I went on there, and it's true. All right. What did I just do with it? I just had it up. It's true. In the WBO rankings, let me just pull this back up. Virgil Ortiz is the number 1 guy. And Jerron Boots Ennis for January of 2022. Ortiz is number 1 and Ennis is number 2. Now, I don't believe Ennis is scheduled for a fight. Maybe he's working on a fight behind the scenes. I know both of these guys are like ranked in all sanctioning bodies, and I know Ennis is like number 1 or he's close to being at the top of the IBF, which is being held by Spence. All right. The WBA, they have their own situation going on over there because Ugas was supposed to defend his titles against a Butayev or a Stanionis. Those guys are going to fight each other now in order to fight the winner of or be the mandatory for the WBA strap, which makes sense. That's my point of this whole video. Okay. And this is going to go into a little bit of what I was saying yesterday. All right. If Virgil Ortiz is number 1 right now, right? Because Bud just fought Porter, who Porter was a ranked fighter at number. He was a number 1. He was the only guy ahead of Ortiz before, you know, Porter fought Terrence Bud Crawford. He was the number 1. You had Ortiz under him, and then you had Boots somewhere in that rankings. Now, if they reset their rankings or they update their rankings and you have Boots as number 2 and Ortiz as number 1, they should be fighting each other right now. Now, I'm not blaming Ortiz. I don't know who to blame. I don't know who's behind this, but the sanctioning bodies need to do a better job at this because they pick and choose when to exercise these title eliminators, these mandatories. If this is the number 1 and number 2 guy, why is Ortiz fighting Michael McKinson, who's the number 3 guy? Why is that happening? Plus, Virgil Ortiz is also the number 1 with the WBC. The WBC ordered a title eliminator against David Avanesian, who's the number 2 guy in the WBC. They turned that fight down. And they're fighting Michael McKinson for the number 3, who's the number 3 over in the WBO. Michael McKinson is the least, he's the least, I guess, valuable fighter here. He hasn't really proven much. I've seen him fight. He's a good boxer for sure. I'm not downing his skills. He got skills, but I think he only has like 2 knockouts. He's not a puncher at all. He's comparable to Paulie Malignaggi. The dude can box his ass off, but he has no power. He's undefeated. I have nothing against the brother. He's a good fighter. He's a good boxer. I took the time to look him up. The dude can box, but he's no Boots Ennis. And he's not even proven to be a David Avanesian level. I would understand Avanesian being a guy that's highly ranked. I would understand Boots being highly ranked. McKinson is the least proven out of all of these guys, yet that's the direction that Virgil Ortiz took. Okay? So when this happens like this, how come no one speaks up? And I'm not even blaming Ortiz directly. What I'm saying is, what is up with the sanctioning body? If the sanctioning body, if you make a title eliminator, right? Now, if you're ranked in multiple sanctioning bodies, right, high, and you're ordered to take a fight, but you can't do both. Obviously, you can't fight 2 times on the same night. But you take one, I can understand them not pulling you from your position. But if the sanctioning bodies weren't, I mean, boxing is very corrupt, you know what I'm saying? But if the sanctioning bodies wanted to do better with boxing, they would follow their rankings, make the mandatories when they're supposed to be made. All right, unless there's going to be some unification involved and stuff like that. If they order fight eliminators and a fighter backs out because they don't want that opponent or for whatever reason, they should be bounced down. You shouldn't be able to sit at the number 1 and not enforce your mandatory or do nothing. You're just sitting there. And I'm not saying that's the case for Virgil Ortiz. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is we have to be consistent because they're not. The sanctioning bodies are not consistent. And I would have to say that a lot of that has to do with cherry picking, a lot of backhand, money exchanges behind the scenes, because it doesn't make sense. Sometimes they're strict on their mandatories. Sometimes a fighter has to make the move right then and there. Listen, we're getting you this amount of time to make a decision. They enforce it. And there's times where they let guys just kind of chill out. Or they'll put easy opponents in place. I was also looking at the WBC and I saw my guy, Danny Garcia, at number 4. Thinking to myself, why is Danny Garcia always one fight away from getting another title shot with the WBC? His whole time since he's been at welterweight, he's gotten title opportunity after title. He'll take a title opportunity. He'll take a loss. He'll fight whoever they put him in, anybody. It could be anybody. And he'll get another title opportunity, one after another. He'll take a loss, and gain another one. He'll take another loss and take another one. Then when he was at 140, he was a good champion at 140. He beat Lucas Matisse. You know, he beat Amir Khan. He beat an older Eric Morales. He had some good wins, all right? He got a win over Lamont Peterson, which was very controversial. You know, we were talking about this years ago. Close fights. I think Mauricio Herrera was robbed against him. But one key thing, Victor Postal was a mandatory for mad long. Never got a shot. Kept getting ducked by Danny Garcia. Danny goes to 147, and you look at the WBC, he's a number 4. The dude doesn't even want to fight as a welterweight anymore. Yet he loses to Spence, and he gets moved down to the number 4. Now, if Jaron Ennis wasn't there, I bet you if Danny Garcia was really interested, I bet you he would go on to beat like a David Avanesian or somebody like that, or maybe, not because David is solid, but if the rankings was mixed up a little differently, the WC would have put him in there with any random dude, and he would have got another title eliminator or mandatory position, because that's what's happened over and over again. It happened with Keith Thurman. It happened with Sean Porter. It happened with Errol Spence. He kept getting opportunities. Why does he keep getting opportunities? My rant here is basically about the sanctioning bodies. What's going on here? Why is Ortiz number 1 fighting the number 3 when the number 2 is right there? And Ortiz already said in an interview, I'm not making this up. Ortiz already said in an interview, he's not going after Boots Ennis. He wants to get the older guys. Now, some people could see that as ducking. But I also understand, like, yo, you're the younger guy coming up. You want to go against the bigger names because it's going to make you more popular more quickly. If you go in there and were to beat a Boots, or I'm sorry, not a Boots, a Crawford or Spence or Ugas or Pacquiao or the guys that's been around, Thurman, I get that. I understand that. I understand where you're going with it. I mean, Conor Ben is trying to do the same thing. He's not calling out Boots. He's not calling out Virgil Ortiz. He called out Porter. He called out Khan. He called out Brook. He's calling out the guys that seasoned, that's been around, because he wants to get that. But at the same time, what is the sanctioning body doing here? They're supposed to be the enforcers. So a fighter could whatever fight they want. But if the sanctioning body say, no, you're the number 1, we're making you fight the number 2 right now. Just like the WBA is doing right now with Butayev and Stanionis. Those are the top 2 dudes. So you want to fight for the WBA title? We're going to let this WBA, we're going to let the unification go on. In the meantime, we're going to have you 2 fight each other in a title eliminator, which makes sense, right? Just the other day, I made a video about Hrgovic, right? I was talking about Hrgovic the other day, and I said, look, Hrgovic was supposed to be involved in a final eliminator last year against Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter backed out. When you back out a final eliminator, just, all right, you out of here. You back down to number 10. Who else we got? Oh, we got Ortiz and Charles Martin fighting for a title eliminator. How did that make sense? I don't know. All right, but Charles Martin lost. Ortiz won. Okay, Ortiz, you're next. Nah, I'm injured. I can't fight. All right, well, then you back down to number 10 too. Or number 9 or number 11. Who else have we got? Joseph Parker. Nah, I don't want to take the fight. Not enough money, whatever it is, whatever excuse you. All right, you know what? Let's just wipe out this whole ranking system here. All of you guys, y'all don't want the fight. Let's move you all out. Because that's the way boxing should be. If you want to make boxing a better sport with less corruption, the sanctioning body has to do that. But they only enforce their rules when it's convenient for certain fighters. And I'm the one sitting on the outside. I'm thinking, well, somebody got to be getting paid on the backhand, you know, because this doesn't make any sense. This could be a really simple thing. These sanctioning bodies, even though as much as we hate them, it could be very simple. You have a ranking system. You have to beat certain people to get to the top. Sometimes certain fighters mysteriously get to the top of the rankings. I don't know why. I don't know how. Right? But they do. And then when there are mandatory, the fighters will just go in there and rush and beat them real quick. Oh, this is my mandatory. I got to fight this guy because the sanctioning body made them my mandatory. But you notice, and this is what you got to watch people for, and I'm not talking about just the content creators, but I'm just talking about fans in general, journalists. They specifically target certain groups. Fighters that fight on certain networks. They make it seem like it's just one group that's doing it. And that's not true. It's not true. This is not an attack on Virgil Ortiz. This is an attack on the sanctioning bodies. Why is he fighting McKinson? He's number 3. He should be fighting number 2. Now, if the WBO ordered a fight with Boots and Boots turned it away, then we can say, all right, Boots, you ducked him. But the sanctioning body is not even trying to make the fight. They didn't even make the fight. They said make the fight against McKinson. So we need some explanation on why this is being made that way. You know, I said this about Jaime Munguia the other day. I know a lot of people don't like it because a lot of people just give Jaime Munguia a pass forever. They just give him a pass. Oh, he's just this fun fighter. He's fun. No. That's bullshit. He's a former champion. When Saddam Ali, a welterweight, was the champion at 154, oh, he jumped in there and fought him right away. But now he's at 160. You moved up from a former champion fighting at 160. I get it. You're still young. But there's a lot of all these guys we're naming, like Shakur Stevenson, that's about to try to be unified. He's young. He was the same age that Jaime Munguia was when he was doing all this. Same thing with Virgil Ortiz. All of these guys are younger than Jaime Munguia now. Why is Jaime Munguia the number 1 in the WBO and he's having fight after fight, but he's not getting a mandatory fight with the champion, Demetrius Andrade? Why is it that it's going so long where he's just been sitting at the number 1 spot that they take Janibek and put him and make him the mandatory to fight Demetrius Andrade instead? When you had Jaime Munguia sitting right there. What's going on with the WBC? He's like the number 1 or number 2. Why not fight Eubank Jr.? Why not fight Jamal Charlo? Like, what's going on? How long are we going to just say, oh, he's just this fun guy? No, he's not. Yes, he is a fun fighter. I love watching his fights. His fights are always fun to watch. But the dude is fighting good enough people to say, yo, he belongs in a real middleweight, heavyweight, a middleweight fight, championship fight, a real one. You know, he beats Gabe Rosado not too long ago. He's calling out, what's this guy? He's calling out Deverenchenko. But when Deverenchenko loses to Carlos Adames, he doesn't fight Carlos Adames. He's not fighting. He's fighting Demetrius Ballard. Who did Demetrius Ballard fight? He didn't fight anyone. Why are you fighting Demetrius Ballard? You were just calling out Deverenchenko, who was coming off 2 losses. Why are you calling him out? Why are you calling him out? Adames, the winner between Deverenchenko and Adames, you were supposed to fight him next. It's not like you need a tune-up. You've been active. What are the sanctioning bodies doing? Why do they have them sitting right at the top without enforcing that mandatory status? What are they waiting for? Oh, I would have to think somebody behind the scenes is keeping you in the position to fight with a title as soon as the title becomes easy to win. That's my thoughts. I mean, I don't know how you could think any other way. Oh, let's just wait until the title is easier to win. Then we'll go for it. Let's not act like fighters don't do that. Or let's not act like promoters don't do that for their fighters. So stop acting like listen, most of us been watching this for a long time. You know, fighters wait to certain people pick up belts and that's when they go for the belt. It is what it is. You know, there's always the risk reward thing. We have that, but we have people that want the titles, they want the championships, but they specifically wait until somebody moves up. Sometimes they move up. You know, they wait for the belt to become vacant. Nah, we want you to win and earn and fight hard to get the belt. And the sanctioning bodies need to do a better job in keeping it fair. And for the fans and the content creators like myself, all right, be consistent. All right, we can sit here and attack Tank all day. All right, we can attack Tank. We can attack Spence. Who else that people always go crazy about like, you know, ducking and not. We could sit here and attack so many fighters all day. All right, but there's other things that's happening right before our eyes and no one's questioning it. This Ortiz situation, yo, I get it. You want to fight the bigger names, all right? But you know what? It's not uncommon for two prospects or two undefeated guys coming up to fight each other. It's not new, you know? People say what they want about Joshua. Joshua went in there and fought Dillian White when they were both undefeated, and it wasn't a championship fight. There was a lot more to lose at the time. And the dude beat you in the amateurs, and he took the fight. He didn't have to do it. You know, they already knew that Joshua was going to be, he had potential to be a cash cow then. He was an Olympic gold medalist. He was coming up, and they put him in there with Dillian White. Dillian White could have knocked him out, and he would have been done. This happens all the time. There's fighters that do it. We don't have to wait until you get an opportunity. Yo, if you're the next big thing, you should be fighting Boots. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not even saying that to protect Bud Crawford. I already told you on this camera, I said, yo, if he has to fight Ennis right now, fight him right now. You don't have to wait. I said that about Keith Thurman back then when what's this guy name? Errol Spence Jr. wanted to fight him. When Errol wanted to fight him, I said, yo, these dudes need to fight Errol right now before he get better. And you're gonna end up fighting him later when you're older and he's more experienced. I'm saying the same thing about Ennis right now and Ortiz. Fight him right now. Now, when Ortiz called out Bud after being Hooker, everybody was getting on Bud. Like, yo, you better fight him. You avoiding this dude? Really? He's avoiding Ortiz? What about now? I mean, was that even 6 months ago? What about Ennis? You could be fighting Ennis right now because all these guys that season has been around, they are trying to fight each other because they know their time is almost up. Bud, Spence, Thurman, all these guys, Porter just retired. All right. All these guys that's still hanging around, they trying to get their last fights off so they could go and ride off to the sunset. All right. So you got these guys that's hungry that want those fights. They want those fights too. But guess what? There's other people that want those fights too. You're right up there with them. So while you're waiting around, why not fight each other? No, because they're being calculated. So if everybody wants to be, you want boxing to be a better sport. You want it to be less corrupt. You want the best fights. A lot of you claim you want the best fights until it's your fighter that you love. You want them to stay protected. You know, don't pick and choose. There's so many people that pick and choose. They want to, you know, they come up with brilliant ideas and they expose certain things about the sport. But when it comes to their fighter, I say that to y'all all the time. At some point, your favorite fighter is going to be in the same scenario as that guy you was just criticizing. What do I always say? And I'm going to keep saying that because it's always going to be a time when your fighter is going to be in that same position, and guess what? This is going to be you. You're going to be quiet. We ain't going to hear a word. We're not going to hear a peep out of you. So if you really want this sport to be better, that's how you got to move. You can't be out here moving like just protecting all your favorite fighters, but you want all these other fighters over here to fight the best people. No, it doesn't work that way. You know? That's not how it goes. Boxing Gym says neither Boots or Ortiz are near Crawford or 100% Errol Spence. Fans that know very little about actual fighting think their eye tests are golden for some reason. I think Boots could be there. You know, I still don't think, you know, speaking on Boots or even Errol, I still believe that Errol hasn't been pushed to a point where he showed all of his abilities. You know, I still don't think he has. And I still believe that Crawford hasn't either. I think Crawford can literally snap at one moment and turn into a completely different dude. We saw a bit of that in that Sean Porter fight. Yo, bro, you're down. Step it up. Oh, I'm down? Okay. Then we saw the rest of the fight. There was no rest of the fight. The fight was over. And I believe that Spence hasn't been pushed to a level where he showed all of his tricks because he can do things that a lot of us haven't really seen. And I think, and part of the reason why I want the Bud Crawford fight so bad is because I want to see them both at their very best. You know, I want to see them both in some sort of real danger. I don't want to go into a fight knowing how the fight is going to play out. You know, but Boots is showing signs to be great. And even though, you know, some people think he's already at that level, some people don't. But I can tell you at 23, Bud wasn't as good as him at 23. Neither was Spence. At 23, he's very, very good. Just like Shakur Stevenson. At 23, he's very, very good. He's already showing those signs of being an elite level, mainly because of his athleticism and his size. I mean, we knew Spence was a big welter. We knew Kell Brook was a big welter. You know, I think Bud, I don't even think Bud is as small as these people like to say. I've been saying that for a long time now, but he's really grown into his size. But Ennis is big as a welter. I mean, he's a legit 154 fighter. Legit. And he can still make weight. I don't know how long he'll be able to make that weight, but you know what I'm saying? That kid Boots, people bring out Roy Jones for a reason, but we just got to wait and see more. You know, he could be one of those situations where you rush him too soon. He might get clipped, might not be the same fighter. You just got to wait and see. Or he might take a loss and become a better fighter. He might improve. You know, that happens a lot too. Sometimes these fighters need to take an L first before they improve and work on those things. Riley says, I want to see all Boots might be that good. It's going to be interesting. Creative. They're going to be ducking, moving around. Boots, just watch. Jesus says, wasn't Ennis thinking about moving up if he didn't get an opportunity with Spencer? But yeah, probably. I mean, I'm sure because he got the size to do it. He could fit in right at 154, you know. Davida says Boots practices daily. I mean, as he should. This is a lifestyle, as he should. Boxing Jim says, I was about to say, Crawford shows moments of another level. Smith has an incredible tank and incredible willpower. Absolutely. Jesus says Crawford beats Spence. I agree with you, but we just got to wait and see. I have Crawford winning, though. Milwaukee says Boots is up there. Ortiz not good enough. I think Ortiz is definitely good enough, and he's up there. I just don't think he can beat Spence, Bud, or Boots right now. All right, but we got to see it to believe it. Woken One says, hell yeah, I like to see the best boxers regularly fight the best, as boxing fans have waited too long for that to happen. Yeah, but the politics is always play a role, and this is money at the end. This is prize fighting at the end of the day. It's not structured, and it doesn't have the same structure as other sports do, doesn't really work that way, but hopefully we could get better fights. Milwaukee says Errol the best. Crawford can't beat Spence. We just gotta wait and see what happens when they get in the ring, Levita says, has Boots even gone 6 rounds? I'm not sure he's there. None of us are sure, None of us is sure. We all good to have our predictions on what we see, but we just gotta wait and see. What's up, G Funky, man? What's good, bro? How you doing? I hope everything is good. Happy New Year. I hope everything's well with you, man. Everything is good on my end. All right. So see my man Punch Quote said. Punch Quote says, protect Bud. Come on, Rave. Robert Garcia rejected the mandatory fight. I didn't say he protect Bud though. I know I didn't say that. Robert Garcia rejected a mandatory fight. Yeah, I didn't say protect Bud. If I did, I probably got the names confused. Because there's no point where I thought Bud was needed protection from anyone. All right. So look, I just wanted to get my point across when it came to that. Not gonna be a long live tonight. I just think that sanctioning bodies need to do better, and I think we all need to do our due diligence and be honest with ourselves and call out these sanctioning bodies when there's some funny movement going around. When these random guys are getting placed in certain rankings and stuff, we got to call it out. We got to call it out every single time, not when just our favorite fighter is doing it. We got to call it out every single time. You know what I'm saying? And if we did that and stop being fanboys, everybody could be on the same page. We can't just keep going towards specific groups that fight on specific platforms. That's not cool. Right? Because a lot of people are doing this. All right. And it's clear as day. It's not hard to find. When you fight out, like I'm gonna stay on this Jaime Munguia thing. I'm not letting that slide because he's way too experienced at this point, even at his age, to keep making excuses about him being too young and inexperienced. He's not inexperienced. All right. The very next fight, he can easily be fighting for his second title in a different second division. All right. He should be at least fighting a Eubank. I know people want Triple G, but he should at the very least be fighting a Eubank Jr. All right. If not Jamal Charlo or Demetrius Andrade. Don't wait until those belts become available and they're vacant and you got to fight a weak opponent to get it. I see that pattern with that guy. And this is why I stay on his ass specifically, because I like him. His fights are good, but I see a pattern with the way they move with him. I see that. That's why I'm going to call it out. People don't like it. I don't care. He's a good kid. He's a good fighter. He doesn't bother no one. All right. But the way they move with him, and I'm talking about his promoter, you can see what's going on. Some people want to turn a blind eye to it, but that dude is fighting people that are tailor-made for him. So we got to call it out when it happens. All right. Anyway, y'all have a good night, man. I'm out of here. Short live. Just wanted to get this off. If you missed the part with Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, come back, rewind it back early. I spoke on that first. And then we got a lot more stuff. I gotta get some breakdowns done. It's been a minute since I did some real breakdowns. I gotta do some field study. Gotta check out my man. Make sure I follow Boxing Gems. Boxing Gems. I seen your joint, your video with the I think Top Rank commentary called you out. That's really dope. That's good, man. You do great film work, good field study. Definitely be on your channel soon, looking up some field study, man. You do it the best to me right now. There's a lot of people that do it like the way you do it. But shout out to everyone that's here, all the other channels. G Funky was here. My man D-Style Boxing should be back on his panel pretty soon. So check me out on there. And make sure you subscribe. Oh, also smash that like button if you haven't already. I didn't even say it once in this video. Smash the like button if you can. Share the video if you can. And I'm out, man. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.